Now all these and more coming up in a moment. Now, General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Kojo Asamoah, has pledged the union's cooperation with government on issues concerning workers. He however cautioned they will not remain silent if their fair share is not given them. President John Mahama, on his part, says moderation in demands is as key as job protection.
The TUC General Secretary led representatives of the other labor organizations, including Ghana National Association of Teachers, Ghana Federation of Labour, Ghana Registered Nurses Association, and NAGRAT, to the Flagstaff House to the meeting with the President. He was hopeful they could count on the good relationship they had with the President when he was vice to President Mills.
Let me take the opportunity on behalf of Organized Labour, Your Excellency the President, to congratulate you on your election to the highest office of the country. We're expecting that almost any time there is an issue, you call on us to at least interact with us and let us know what it is before it comes out. You can be assured also of our cooperation at all times, but based on mutual trust and respect. And would also want that in any gains of this country, since we are the contributors, you also ensure that we have our fair share. If you deny our fair share, we'll cry, we'll shout. We'll shout till you hear and then give us our fair share of it.
President Mahama said expanding the job market by creating sustainable jobs will be his focus, adding he will count on their cooperation.
In trying to get the economic fundamentals right and move the country from a lower middle income country to a fully middle income country, it is not the president and government alone that can achieve that. We need to achieve it with all the relevant stakeholders in the economy. With the reform in education and our push for universal primary basic education, we have more children going into the school system and coming out at various levels after JSS, after SSS, and after university. And all these young people are coming into the job market. It changes the focus of organized labor from just agitation to job creation and job protection, that sometimes you moderate your demands in order for a larger national interest.
He said appropriate consultations will be made in the drawing up of the budget. World Bank Vice President for Africa, Makta Diop, was also at the Flagstaff House. He was there to pay a courtesy call on the president and also congratulated him for being elected into office as president. President Mahama said Ghana intends to engage the World Bank in laying down the economic infrastructure to reflect the current lower middle income status of the country.
The Ghana Medical Association is advocating the inclusion of representatives from the Finance Ministry in negotiations over salaries with public sector workers, including doctors. It comes even as agitations grow over the failure of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the National Labour Commission to implement agreements reached on the payment of their salaries. GMA Vice President Dr. Sojit Tete said the exclusion of the Finance Ministry in the negotiations is a bane in the implementation of the Labour Commission's rulings.
There should be a number of ways in which we can engage constructively with the employer before things actually break down. But the GMA did not give 1 week notice, actually gave 2 weeks of notice, and started with some mild form of action. And if you go into the labor laws, within those 2 weeks, 14 days, the problem could actually have been solved. So then the question often becomes how proactive the state institutions that have the mandate to resolve these disputes tend to act.
Parliament today approved 9 persons nominated to serve as ministers in the Mahama administration. Chairman of the Appointments Committee, Ebo Bating-Oduro, said all 9 met the criteria and as such were qualified to serve as ministers. The House tasked the 9 ministers to live up to expectation and address the challenges in their respective ministries.
The 9 nominees are Samuel Sapon, Minister-designate for the Ashanti region, Ebenezer Tay Ado, Minister-designate for the Central region, Beit Zidane, Upper West, and Dr. Alhaji Mustafa Ahmed, Minister-designate at the presidency. The rest are Al-Hassan Azon, Abdul Rashid Pelpo, Fifi Kwete, Comfort Doyo Kujugansa, and Alhaji Lumina Muhammad Muniru, all ministers of state designate at the presidency. Seconding the motion, Deputy Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, Alfred Agbeshi, called on the Upper West Minister designate Beit Zidane to address the challenge of rural-urban migration in northern Ghana.
Mr. Speaker, it's not only a drift from the north down south, but it has been a thing that is existing now for people. Immediately they finish their education, they drift down, particularly to Accra, to Kumasi, to seek non-existent jobs. Mr. Speaker, what it is necessary that all those we are approving or we are urging the House to approve should make conditions favorable in any area they found themselves, so that people drift to Accra and to Kumasi and other urban areas will be a thing of the past.
In my constituency, in the Nanton constituency, many of the young girls and boys that we find in Accra, many of them are coming from our constituency, particularly those who are coming from northern region. The extent to which that as a nation we need to do something about it. I don't think that the solution is to provide hostel facilities for those who come looking for jobs that are non-existent. I think that we need to start looking at providing growth pools in these communities. I believe that once those growth pools are provided, nobody would want to leave his home or her home looking for jobs that are non-available in circumstances where accommodation is even a challenge, in circumstances where some of them, unfortunately, are taken advantage of by people who would want to take advantage of them.
There was a statement on the floor of Parliament on the closure of the Adomi Bridge for repair works.
Mr. Speaker, Adomi Bridge is a significant revenue generator in terms of tolls to the road fund. It is estimated that on the average, over 3,000 vehicles cross the bridge daily. Right, Honourable Speaker, the bridge is old and requires major rehabilitation. Failure to carry out the works could cause further decay and inevitable result that would impact negatively on the country.
The House has meanwhile confirmed the delivery of the President's State of the Nation address on Thursday, February 21, and the burial of the former Volta Regional Minister Henry Ford Camel between the 22nd and 24th of February 2013.
The Ministry of Information has launched the 56th Independence Anniversary, detailing the highlights of the commemoration.
The March 6th celebration, which is a few weeks away, will make it 56 years since Ghana gained independence. Minister of Information Mahama Yariga announced activities for the 10-day celebration on the theme Partnership and Innovation for Building a New and Better Ghana.
On the occasion of the 56th anniversary of our beloved country, let us use the theme Partnership and Innovation to Build a Better and New Ghana for ourselves and our children's children. Again, as the theme for the occasion implies, things have changed since 56 years, and there is need to inject innovation in doing things as against 50 years ago.
He says a nationwide cleanup exercise will be organized on the first Saturday in March as part of the program of activities.
On Sunday, 2nd of March, we will carry out a cleanup exercise across the country. The most important day itself will be marked on Wednesday, 6th of March at the Black Star Square with a grand parade by our security services and schools.
He also announced that a report providing details about the cost of the celebration will be presented by the Planning Committee after the program.
Now, starting this year, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for candidates writing the November-December exams organized by the West African Examinations Council to cheat. This is because WAEC is putting in place stringent measures to curtail exam malpractices. As an added feature, the biometric data of candidates who will be writing this year's November-December WASI will be captured and verified before they enter the examination hall. The move, according to WAEC, is aimed at dealing with the problem of impersonation, which is a major malpractice associated with the November-December exams, which are taken mostly by private candidates. In 2009, for instance, the council recorded 357 cases of impersonation, but the figure shot up to 391 in 2010. In 2011, however, the cases of impersonation dropped to 252. Head of Public Relations at WAEC, Agnes Kujo, said the council has so far distributed the software and machines to capture the fingerprints of candidates to 200 internet cafes across the country, adding that 800 more machines will be procured by the end of this week to bring the total to 1,000. The cyber cafes are expected to charge 2 Ghana cedis per person for registration, and Mrs. Te Kujo says candidates should report any cafe which charges above the approved fee. Registration for the 2013 November-December exam started this week and would end on April 13. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have more. Now, even though motorists are required to give way to pedestrians, especially at zebra crossings, many drivers completely ignore this regulation. This is despite the several campaigns embarked on by the National Road Safety Commission. Statistics, meanwhile, show many pedestrians are being killed in road accidents. Etonam Say has been finding out more about the tangle between pedestrians and motorists on the country's roads.
Statistics show pedestrians are the most vulnerable road users, so much so that in the 46 days since the year began, 1,076 accidents have been recorded nationwide, claiming 184 lives with more than 1,000 injured. Out there on the roads, it's obvious why.
The essence of zebra crossing is to maintain a peaceful interaction between
Right, we apologize for that hitch there, but we'll bring you back that story. Elsewhere, the over 100 corpses at the Pantang Psychiatric Hospital Mortuary have been spared the agony of decomposing before their burial. The bodies had to be removed from the morgue refrigerators following a breakdown of the motors powering them. But thanks to Joy News reports, the motors have been fixed. The authorities are, however, appealing to the Electricity Company of Ghana to make special arrangements for strategic institutions like hospitals to avoid a recurrence of last Tuesday's incident. Beatrice Edu has more.
It's been 2 days since the defective fridges here at the Pantan Psychiatric Hospital Mortuary were fixed. As a result, the overpowering stench which engulfed the morgue is gone. Corpses which lay on the bare floor during my last visit have been tucked away in the fridges with their doors firmly shut. Mortuary attendant Thomas Awuku says the development gives him great relief.
We are happy that everything is okay now, so we don't have any problem again. Yeah, all depends on this in the electricity power. You see, when the light go off and on like that, it causes the damage of this in the motors now. So far as the machine is working now, I hope everything is okay, and without the light off, we will not have any problem, facing any problem again.
All right, so the fridges have been fixed now, the motors are working properly, and as you heard Mr. Thomas Awuku say, everybody that was on the floor during the crisis has been put back in the fridges. They have been closed tightly, and so there's no exposure, and family members are happily coming for the bodies of their deceased. But hospital administrator Yahweh J fears the current stability may be short-lived if nothing is done about the erratic electricity supply.
What I would say, this is not even the first time that the machines or the motors get break down. They usually, as machines, sometimes when we are operating them, we get set breakdowns. So we have technicians. Some are from the Ministry of Health. Some are private business people. So when the breakdown happened, we invited them. They came here, assessed the situation, identified the faults, removed those motors to their workshops, and it took them about a day or two to work on them. And then on the third day, they brought them. And when they came, they fixed them, and they are now working. First, we had what we call preventive maintenance. And we have that in place. So we do regular servicing of them. And we also would like to appeal to the electricity company. If they could exempt hospitals like ours from these power outages so that we can enjoy regular supply of power or electricity, which will in effect at least minimize the breakdowns.
Will their request be granted? The ECG may have some answers. My name is Beatrice Edu for Joy News, Accra.
President John Mahama has asked Transport Minister Jifa Ativo to propose ways to re-engineer the state transport company to collaborate with the private sector. The minister led a group of road transport operators to the presidency to discuss issues pertinent to the road transport industry.
To deliberate on the issues affecting the road transport services. And since assumption of office, they have decided to pay a courtesy call on you, Your Excellency. This is our mission.
The road transport operators represented were the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GRTCC, Protoa, and MOT. President Mahama called for more proposals to improve road safety and fleet renewal plans which are attractive to the private sector.
I want us to put our heads together, you and your minister, and come out with a system where when government assists, with buses, you are able to over time recover the cost of the buses so that we can revolve the credit and make it available to other people. The unnecessary loss of lives, the cost in damage and injury to people, the cost of destruction of property, vehicles, and the like is not a cost that this country can continue to bear.
He spoke of opening alternate road networks to ease the daily congestions.
We're expanding the Elwak Road into a dual carriage so that it can carry more passengers. Right now we're working around the Spintex to open a road from the Spintex Road that allows vehicles to come straight to the Polo roundabout and continue into Accra without coming to the Tetekwashi, the shopping mall roundabout. We're also looking to open a road from Spintex, the Coca-Cola side, to come through Bema Camp and join the main Elwak Road so that those coming from Spintex, instead of coming to Tetekwashi, they can pass through there, hit the Elwak Road and continue wherever they're going.
The president added shifting to more bigger bus transit services will also be explored in dealing with the situation.
WhatsApp, a multi-platform instant messaging application, has without doubt become the preferred mode of communication for most mobile phone users in Ghana. You can send text, photos and videos instantly to other users. It ever turns out, WhatsApp users are discovering very interesting ways to use this new app on the block.
On the WhatsApp, I have my class page, I have GSS page, SS page, I have assignment discussion pages. So this one bring his or her view from here, another one bring. So any other time, like any time, it keeps coming. You keep getting messages. Families are there, friends are there, abroad, wherever. So the message keeps coming. So let's say within a day, if 24 hours, I'll say 23 hours. If someone tells you, hey, I'm here, you go like, okay, send me a picture of what you are wearing, send me a picture of what's going on there. My friends send me funny videos, funny clips, funny audios and all. At times when your day is boring, you can just read a chat and then you'll be okay because it's already there.
Because if sometimes my phone is not with me, I don't feel fine. Even if it's there, I feel like taking it to open WhatsApp. Yeah, I feel addicted to WhatsApp because I always want to be online, chatting with my friends and my loved ones. I have some friends, we used to do group chats, and it's always fun. Everybody will bring her views and stuff, everything. We all laugh, share our views and stuff. So I always feel like going online to chat with them.
How often are you on WhatsApp?
24/7, like almost every day. Well, I love watching movies and listening to music. So since I got WhatsApp on my phone, like I hardly watch movies. I'm always on my phone.
As in when I'm not driving, I, for the most part, have my attention seriously, engaged upon my phone. There are several times students reach out to me personally over issues that are core to their well-being, on campus here, and that is how it has helped.
A set of twins joined at the belly are due to undergo a surgery at the Conjoined Teaching Hospital in Kumasi next week. Their case was first highlighted in the documentary that aired on our sister station Joy FM. Since the broadcast, several benevolent persons and organizations have contributed towards the complicated medical procedure. The latest contribution is coming from another set of twins who may not have money, but a story to share.
Lydia and Linda underwent a similar surgery some 13 years ago. Though originally from Somenya in the eastern region, they now live with their foster parents in Swedru and attend one of the best private schools in the town. They said they were touched by the documentary and strongly believed if they could tell their story, it will be a source of encouragement, not just for their conjoined friends, but for parents who find themselves with children with deformities.
Some people also were like that, but they did not survive. But God being so good, He allowed me and my sister to survive. I feel sad, but I'll pray that they survive. I want to see them by surviving because plenty people also were like that, but I heard that only me and my sister survived, so I want them to also survive so that we can become full.
They were born on 24th March 1999 at the Tua Government Hospital at Odumase Krobo in the Eastern Region. Their foster mother, Cynthia Morrison, is very proud of her daughters and their talents.
I'm very, very proud of them. Sometimes I don't want it to get into their heads because already they are swollen-headed. So when I push it into their heads, I normally don't do that. I love all my children, but I restrict it because children, when they see that you overdo it, they also go the extra limit that they shouldn't go to. But I am very, very proud of them because I saw them little, I saw them grow, and I saw, they are good dancers, they can run, they are very courageous, they are bold, they are fearless.
Love everlasting is always near.
Lydia is an athlete and represents her school in competitions. Linda said she wished she could be at the hospital to give the two, due to undergo surgery, some hope.
I want them to have confidence in them. They should believe that God will allow the doctors to separate them. I wish I could go there to tell the doctors to separate them well.
Unable to, she remains hopeful her message will reach her friends who they say they can't wait to have her sisters from another mother.
Father, just as you have done it for Linda and Lydia, by faith we are praying that these ones will come out of surgery successful to the glory of God. We dip them in the blood of Jesus. We are praying.
And certainly through the magic of television, the message will be conveyed. Meanwhile, stay tuned to this channel for a more extensive feature on Lydia and Linda's story. Now, we're going back to earlier story on zebra crossings. And even though motorists are required to give way to pedestrians, especially at zebra crossings, many drivers completely ignore this regulation. This is despite the several campaigns embarked on by the National Road Safety Commission. Statistics, meanwhile, show many pedestrians are being killed in road accidents. Ayrton Amsey has been finding out more about the tangle between pedestrians and motorists on our roads.
Statistics show pedestrians are the most vulnerable road users. So much so that in the 46 days since the year began, 1,076 accidents have been recorded nationwide, claiming 184 lives with more than 1,000 injured. Out there on the roads, it's obvious why.
The essence of zebra crossing is to maintain a peaceful interaction between pedestrians and vehicular traffic. Pedestrians most of the time have a hard time crossing because drivers do not care for the waiting pedestrian.
Pedestrians recount many tales about the refusal of drivers to give them passage.
So we can want 2 times I say a car bobby. Ewa hase. Obi wa haya no pen ntem. Akọ baby ọkọ. Eno ntina ya no mo my kwan. Me dey say me pen ntem akọtọ ma dey mo me dey metwe mo by force.
Zebra crossing and car drivers need not make driving school and come be sambra we na. But oman conti from mate to driver. That is reason why omu name science road science. One and driver no say be a spare driver open time aqua sabantu sa zebra crossing on tiase open time sabantu.
Se kura ukotwa kwan mu a moto ba keba omo ma wu ntwa kwan enta police for no omonyo omodwuma yie.
This phenomenon may probably be due to the misunderstanding of the right-of-way rule, or it could also be due to the mentality of the motorists. It is to check such infractions that the National Road Safety Commission introduced a mandatory refresher course for offending motorists last year.
Drivers who do not obey generally the road rules and regulations have the law to face. The road traffic regulations provides for offending drivers to either get a fine, get a prison sentence, and now what we are doing is to ensure that drivers who flout some of these regulations are taken to the National Drivers Academy for retraining, because we're looking at a long-term approach where you don't just pick drivers off the road into a prison cell or merely give them a fine, but looking at a reformation.
Assistant Planning Officer Abraham Zatu reiterates the Commission's commitment to severely punish drivers who flout road traffic rules.
The issue of retraining is probably supposed to serve a couple of purposes. First of all, it will ensure that you acquire additional information, and information has a kind of reforming effect on everybody. And the other aspect of it is because of the expanding database that we are putting up. Once you get into such a facility, you naturally would have your license suspended until you go through the system.
The Commission maintains drivers are supposed to give way to pedestrians who have signaled or made the attempt to cross the road, and urges pedestrians to take note of the license plates of drivers who do not comply and report them to the nearest police station. How effective this will be, however, is anyone's guess. Etonamse, Joy News.
Up next, we bring you business news. Visiting World Bank Vice President Makhtar Diop is citing excessive domestic borrowing by government as a threat to the development of private businesses. More than half of the 34 billion Ghana cedis public debt was incurred locally. Addressing journalists at a news conference a while ago, Diop says government needs to take a second look at this.
One of the issues that they emphasize is a need to address some of the macro imbalances which are burgeoning now in Ghana, and authorities have indicated that part of it will require measures in addressing the growth in expenditures, but also to generate additional revenue. As you know, the economy of Ghana is generating in terms of revenue a level of revenue which is lower than numbers of other African countries in terms of percentage of GDP. That is created some imbalances as expenditure has been growing at a pace which is much faster. The type of imbalances that it has been created is is financing on the domestic market of T-bill, which are a rate which is pretty high. And this high rate of T-bills put a pressure on the interest rate for the rest of the economy and affect the capacity of the productive sector to respond and to remain competitive in some areas. So the objective that has been set by policymakers, by different persons in the private sector, but also by a different economic agent of diversification of the economy is challenged because you don't have that possibility of having the supply response that you want due to some of the cost of financing that you have, which is driven by the high level of borrowing coming from the government.
Today was the final day for inputs into the 2013 budget to be presented in the first week of March. It will focus on massive infrastructure development, private sector, stabilizing the economy and accelerating growth. It has become a convention for members of the public, business associations, civil society groups and other stakeholders to contribute to the annual economic statement. Analysts have argued these inputs are rarely considered, but Finance Minister Setekbe disagrees.
We used to meet, for example, the GRA would have met industry and business and others. It is vital because when you ask the public for input, you are asking a spectrum of interests, economic, political, and social interests to provide input into the budget. And the budget being an instrument of government policy takes account of any inputs that we get. So, for example, you may, through this advert, get comments. And sometimes we go out of our way to encourage those comments from institutions like the Association of Ghana Industries. They would have specific interests, for example, from the business angle. What is government doing, for example, to clear the backlog or slow procedures in, say, the port due to either handling customs procedures or others? Because if you come out with a theme, for example, in the budget that says you want the private sector to play an active role in the growth of the economy, then their concern would be facilitation so that they don't increase the cost of operations when they bring goods.
The Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, Simon Davo, is to take over as acting commissioner until further notice. This commissioner, Nyamike Chiama, is to begin her voluntary retirement by the close of work today, having occupied that position since December 2009. Prior to his appointment as Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Davo held senior management positions at the Bank of Ghana, Cal Bank and ADB. He has a background in finance and accounting. In international business news, the chairman and chief executive of the Italian defense firm, Finmeccanica, has resigned. According to reports citing his lawyer, Giuseppe Orsi was arrested in Italy this week as part of a corruption investigation involving the sale of helicopters to the Indian government.
Finmeccanica has already handed over the running of the firm to another director while it deals with the allegations. According to the Italian news agency ANSA, Orsi announced his decision to resign in a letter to a magistrate who questioned him. Orsi is facing allegations that the Italian group's Augusta Westland unit used bribes in order to win the Indian contracts for 12 helicopters in 2010. He denies any wrongdoing. On Thursday, India's Defense Ministry said it was freezing payments to Finmeccanica while the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, carried out its investigation into the aircraft deal.
The Ghana Football Association says head coach Kwesi Appiah will continue to work despite failing to win the 20.
The coaching department of the team. And we thought that once the team did not do well, then the performance was also an issue that ought to be looked at. We have reviewed the work of the coach. And as I told you in my intro, we all admit that the performance of this team fell far below our expectation. We also admit that, and even the coach himself admits that, there were some few tactical issues that if the coach were given a second chance, maybe he would do them differently. No human being is perfect. We do not believe that firing coaches all the time is the panacea to getting us onto the promised land.
Coach Kwesi Appiah's next assignment will be against Sudan on the 24th of March in 2014 FIFA World Cup qualifier. South African Olympic and Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius has strongly rejected. And finally, Equatorial Guinea side Sonny Ella Nguema have arrived in Ghana to take on two-time CAF Champions League winners Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in a game scheduled for Sunday, February 17. And that's all we have for you by way of sports. Up next is Showbiz.